Celtics had 5 different players give you 15 points or more, Danny Ainge is one of them. So just because you don't know who Danny Ainge is, doesn't mean that he wasn't a good player. So no, brother. And while he did it, he shot 41% from behind the arc the entire postseason run, and 55% from the field. 58.5% on his 2-pointers. Meaning that the only way you can keep up that degree of accuracy on your twos as a guard means that you would have to be one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA at bare minimum from a role player's perspective. Again, just because you don't know who Danny Ainge is doesn't mean that he wasn't a good player. He was wide open because of the double teams on Bird. Let's take that at face value. Even if he was, which I'm not denying that he didn't benefit from having Bird and McHale on the team, there were not that many teams in the NBA who can say, when I get double teamed, I can kick it out to someone who can knock down long twos and threes to the same degree as Danny Ainge. So there's still a benefit of having Ainge on the team. But again, so the niggas out there who are harping on Danny Ainge, respectfully, because now it's almost like y'all are baiting me to crash out. Shut the fuck up, dumb nigga. I also said Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and Dennis Johnson. You're on cock about the 5th fucking option. Shut up! You dumb niggas are so fucking stupid. You're complaining about I can't believe you brought up the 5th option that's averaging 15 points per game in the playoffs. Yeah, of course I am. Dumb fucking idiot. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, as a sidebar, for this series, where the first scoring option isn't even Larry Bird, because they actually have a better scoring option in Kevin McHale. If you actually watch these games, bro, there's several times when Bird isn't having good games, they can just give it to McHale, and McHale can not only score, but do it at the most efficient rate in the NBA. Kevin McHale has years where he's not only leading the league in field goal percentage, Kevin McHale has true shooting percentages of 65.6%, 65%, 62%. Kevin McHale was having true shooting percentages of 60+% in the 80s. When I made the list of names of efficient volume scorers in NBA history, the amount of times like Kevin McHale's name came up in discussions was ridiculous. It was like Curry, Jokic, Barkley, and some Kevin McHale years. Matter of fact, I can probably go find that video real quick actually. Kevin McHale at 88 and 87 is a 20-point per game scorer who is 12% higher than league average on true shooting. That's what McHale was doing as a second option. And they would go to him at times like he was the first option when Bird couldn't get anything off. To further provide the evidence about Bird's struggles against athletic forwards at that point in time, because he struggled mightily against them. You can go on a series basis. Anytime that man saw Bobby Jones, he getting clamped up in the early parts of his career. It was actually pretty ridiculous. In the finals in 1981, he shot 42% from the field. Next series against Washington, he shot 45% from the field. Next series against Philly, Bobby Jones locks him up, 41% from the field. Next series, Atlanta, he shoots 40% from the field. Next series after that, 44% from the field. Bird, for someone who is now claiming has no imperfection, Bird went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-series stretch where he couldn't convert 50% of his shots, despite most of them being at the basket and him barely attempting any threes. Matter of fact, of the 6 that I just listed off, only 2 of them is over 45%. He's a forward. What are we talking about? Then let's take it another step forward. He goes in the finals in 84, 4 for 6 from 3. So 66%, you take that however you want to take that in terms of him being a shooter. Bird in the finals in 84 is only converting 48% of his shots. Only 48%. And again, I'll be very mindful that basically all of these are like at the basket or around the rim or middies. If he is shooting sub 50% on his twos, either he is nowhere near the finisher that people believe that he is, or he's not as good as a mid-range shooter that you may think he is. It's one or the other. The next final series that we then go to is 85. And in 1985, he shoots even worse. He shoots 45% from the field. And McHale outscores him and grabs more rebounds than him. This is the nigga that you are claiming has no flaws. The nigga got held to less than 24 points. And we go on a game-to-game basis because you sit here, and this is the problem, is that most people don't actually watch these games or do the due diligence to figure out what happened in this series. He starts off the series really great, shooting 57% from the field. The next game, 43. Next game, 38. The next game, 50 on 16 shot attempts. The next game, 47. Closeout game, 41. The fuck are we talking about? After the first game, Bird is 25 points on 43, 28 shooting splits.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Again, I think Bird has an argument. And then claim that he has no flaws in his game when at his absolute peak. Every time this nigga matched up with competent defensive pieces or rosters that was thorough enough to not only defend him, but everybody else on the roster, no. Almost every time, his percentages are dropping precipitously. Niggas dropping like 5%. And this is the standard that he got put up to. You criticizing niggas' possessions or series and games. The fuck are you talking about? Next final series, he once more shoots 48% from the field. Another sub 50% shooting. Another one. We go to this series. 44 in the first game. 63 the next. 38 the game after that. 53, 46, 47. He has one game that is really amazing. The rest of the games, except for game 1, 2, 3, 4, no. Bird as a passer, amazing passer. Bird as a off-ball like scorer, like value, really great at that. But to say that Bird doesn't have any flaws when his very clear flaw was his inability to be a consistent shot creator and gain any type of separation from himself and athletic degree defenders? No, bro. Absolutely. And just as a sidebar, in the 87 finals, his last finals, he goes in the 87 finals and he shoots 44.5% from the field. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think in 87, that's when the back problem starts to kick in. So I'll give him some grace. But even in these series that you're trying to boost up, they're not that impressive from a scoring standpoint. They're just not that impressive. They're just not. And after 87, in terms especially postseason production, it's done because his back is out. So when people argue about who Bird was as a player, are you saying from 84 to 86, that 3-year stretch, that's where you're going crazy over? Is the argument that from 84 to 86 is so mind-blowing that it then takes over the other stretches that everyone else has? And, oh yes, this is the other thing. This idea that you're like, oh man, he's just such a juggernaut. A lot of things are not overlapping. Houston, no. Philly. You played one Philly. Okay, cool. You end up losing. Chicago wasn't good. Philly again, and then Houston. So you played one really good team because Chicago, 45-win ball club. After Chicago, you played Philly, a really great team. 62 wins. Then you get to the finals. Okay, cool. But it's one team you had to play. 82 Bullets, and then Philly again. Bullets were a 43-win ball club with a 5th-ranked defense. When you matched up against a 5th-ranked defense, you got held to 17 points and 45% shooting from the field. So when you matched up against an elite-level defense, you dropped. Then you went up against Philly, a really good team with Bobby Jones on it, and then you went up against this team, you had 18 points and shot 41% from the field. You dropped. Okay, but again, one good team. Next year, 83. Hawks, 43-win ball club. Bucks, 51-win ball club. And you end up losing to the Bucks. Bucks were a great defensive team. What did you do against the Bucks? 44% from the field, 18, 19 points per game. That's what you did against the Bucks. Then we go to the next year. Washington Bullets, 35-win team. New York Knicks, 47-win team. Milwaukee Bucks, 50-win team. You faced one 150-win ball club that entire postseason run. One before you got to the finals. One. But it's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. Okay. Go to 85. Cavaliers, 36-win team. Detroit Pistons, 46-win team. Philadelphia 76ers, 50-win team. One. This isn't the Detroit Pistons that existed in the late 80s. Because this Pistons team has Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, still have Kelly Tripucka, but no Joe Dumars, no Dennis Rodman, no Mark Aguirre, none of those players are on the team yet. But no, this isn't the bad boy Pistons team, no. Next year, 86, Chicago Bulls, 30 wins, Atlanta Hawks, 50, with basically just one player on the roster, Dominique Will, in that team. And then the Milwaukee Bucks, we all swept 57. You face one really great team. Then you go to the Houston Rockets and beat up on them. 87, Chicago Bulls, 40-win ball club. Milwaukee Bucks, 50-win. And Detroit Pistons, 52. This 87 is as close as talent gauntlet that they had to go through. And not only did they lose, but I think we already talked about it, in some of these series, Bird isn't like the putting up the craziest numbers. Like, he's putting up solid numbers, but nothing that like to write home about. This gauntlet, when every year they only went up against one really good team, a 50-win plus ball club, before they got to the finals. So, no. My biggest problem with these combos is that there's too much over-analyzing of what has happened over the last 20 to 25 years, especially because we lived through it, and not enough people going back to do the same thing with previous players. You're rattling off bad games, bad moments from like LeBron. You're rattling off the immediate negatives for a Tim Duncan, a Game Alive, and you're telling me you watch Larry Bird like 90,000 times.
What's good?
He has no flaws. Championship away. Hakeem has a 3-year stretch. 30, 11, and 4. In the playoffs, a 3-year stretch, he averages 30 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks, and 52% from the field. And in the regular season, 27, 12, 3.5 assists, 4 blocks, 52% from the field. In the stretch, he wins an MVP, finishes runner-up in MVP, 2 DPOIs, 3 All-NBA selections, somehow only 2 All-Defensive selections, but finishes top 3 in DPOI. Jesus. If the argument is Bird's 3-year run was impeccable, he had no flaws, there are so many more 3-year runs that are just as dominant, if not more, and then also then providing higher caliber of years around it. And also, if your argument is, what did you do in the time frame of when you played? Bird played 13 years of basketball. Let's just say 12, but only won 3 championships. Duncan turned the team into an immediate title contending team in his rookie season. In the first 10 years of his career, Duncan had more championships, more finals MVPs, more all-defensive selections, I believe maybe even more all-NBA selections, because Duncan made an all-NBA selection every year in the first team. 1 fewer MVP, and overall doesn't see anywhere near close to the type of gifts that Bird saw, especially in the playoffs. And also played in an era of basketball that is just as difficult, if not more, especially the competition he faced up against. Duncan in the playoffs from 98 to 2007, Duncan is averaging 24 points, 12.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 3 blocks, shooting 50% from the field. He is giving you just as much volume as Bird in the postseason. Better accuracy, maybe slight worse efficiency because of the free throw percentage, better rebounding, and substantially better defense. He translated to more championship success despite being on worse teams. Bird is not a top 10 player. If you want to argue, like, I make my top 10 off of, like, peaks alone, then okay, I can understand why Bird would be in there. But, like, at some point, a nigga trying to convince people that a 3-year run from Bird and his impact and his ability to hit translate from regular season to post consistently, like, It's only 4 years of that for Bird. That's not enough, bro. I don't understand how people can do that's enough. How the fuck is that enough? Niggas came in the league in their first 10 years were already accomplished throughout his entire career. I just don't understand that, bro. Nigga, Shaq from 93 to 2002. In 10-year stretch, Shaq is 27.5 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 blocks, 57% from the field. He then goes into the postseason in his exact same stretch of years, 28, 13, 3, and 2, 56% from the field. He makes 4 finals appearances, wins 3 championships, all 3 of which in a row, all which finals MVP. And in the finals, Shaq is dog walking the shit out of Larry Bird for most of his finals performances. I don't know, bro. Niggas have a 10-year stretch in their careers, and you can cut that shit off right there. A better argument for Bird.
If you had said to me 20 years ago that we would have all electric buses in Limerick, I would have said, no way, you're mad. Even 10 years ago. I mean, it's one of us travelling around. They're so quiet, you can even hear the birds singing, and it's fantastic, beautiful.
I think it's really cool that Limerick is leading the charge with all the electric buses. As a designer, I think sustainability is definitely at the core of all my practice.
You running? Where is this dude, bro? Suck my dick. Oh. 1 health. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, man.
Bird for most of his finals performances. I don't know, bro. Niggas have a 10-year stretch in their careers, and you can cut that shit off right there. And they will argue a better argument for Bird. Oh, man. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about the afterlife. I don't know why. I'm in good health, as far as I can tell at least. But for whatever reason, it's been on my mind a lot. What happens to us after we die? We've even had more than there are tons and tons of horrifying depictions of the afterlife that only make my fears and concerns about this much, much worse. And among the more disturbing of the ones I'm aware of has to be the subject of today's video, the story. Now, before we begin discussing the story, there are 2 things I want to point out. First and foremost, this story deals with some seriously heavy themes, such as depression, torture, just about any imagery you'd see in a Hellraiser film, and primarily,
taking up one's own life. The story is, of course, a more creepypasta, but these are, unfortunately, very real issues that they deal with. If anyone is struggling, please seek help. I promise it will help you a better place with you in it. And the second thing I want to address
I can't
before
take this
diving
shit
in is that there
anymore.
won't really be much to see on this video, as is the case with my usual sort of book report summaries of creepypastas like today's is going to be. I am trying to work on something to make these videos a bit more engaging for unfortunately, this wasn't in the budget for this one, so just know I'm trying. So this would be a good video to have on the background. Homework,
Holy trick shot. Took my dick.
Out of the way. Let's dive in to Feet and Dig. The story begins with a man waking up tied to a metal chair in a dark, grimy, and concrete room. You would feel that his throat was
A lot of them are
sore
watching
and that
right
he was
now, though.
seriously dehydrated. As he began to look around the room, it was completely empty, save for the chair that he was tied in and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. Besides this, it was dark, but he could see that there was a hallway that led out of the room. Now he couldn't see into this hallway, but he could hear sounds coming from it. Notably, the sounds were screaming, which only added to his fear. He tried to remember how he got to this place, what had brought him here, but for the life of him, he couldn't remember. He yelled out, asking if anyone was there, if anyone could help him, but no one responded, as the sounds of screaming from the hallway only continued. He would struggle to free himself, trying to free himself, but the ropes that bound him to the chair were tied too tight. He was stuck until someone came to get him. But then he heard a sound from the hallway, one that wasn't screams, and a sound that was getting closer and closer to his door. They were footsteps, but they weren't these loud, booming footsteps, but instead the pitter-patter of children's feet. A child running quickly into the room in excitement. The young boy entered the room. He was dressed in a red onesie and a red devil's mask. And through the eye holes of the mask, the man in the chair could tell that these kids' eyes were bulging, sticking out of his sockets like large fish eyes. The man began pleading with the child to free him, but the child would just say, "You did a bad thing." The man would insist that he didn't do anything. The child would only reaffirm this, saying he did a really, really bad thing. He would shake his head in protest, saying that whatever he did, he was sorry, but he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember anything. He just pleaded with the boy to please set him free. But as he pleaded with the boy, a large man in overalls with an angry expression on his face burst into the room. In his hands was a sawed-off shotgun. He would shove the child against the wall before pointing the gun at him and pulling the trigger. The man in the chair would scream out in horror at the sight that just transpired in front of him. As he grabbed the overalls, he grabbed the body, sling it over his shoulder, and as he left, bullets of laughter. The laughter would fade after several minutes.
I did.
Just as the man thought he was alone again in the room, he would hear a voice call out to him. Another man was in the room with him now. One in jeans and a white shirt. He was younger, in his early 30s maybe. His eyes looked as though they were lifeless, and his mouth seemed to be down. He would look at the man in the chair and cross his arms, saying that he must be breathing. But he was disgusting. You could tell that the man in the chairs had already seen the horror of his place, and in comparison, where he came from, he had to look a lot better than here. But the man in the chair again would say that he's sorry for whatever he did, that he didn't mean to upset him or the people here, that he couldn't remember what he had done. That he would be told he hadn't done anything to anyone here. It was what he had done to himself. He was reminded that one day, after his wife left for work, he would bring a rope to the woodshed and end his own life. The man in the chair was dead by his own hand, and this place that he found himself in was his punishment. The memory of doing so came back painfully as he could remember everything now. He lost his job recently and didn't have enough in savings. Meaning he would be almost sick. His wife needed him and threatened to leave him. To make matters worse, he had started seeing someone new. The man was humiliated and shamed. He found the worst possible way to try and run from his problems. The man in the white shirt would introduce himself as Danny and say that he was the number 2 person in charge of this place. Before they began, one question to the man in the chair. He asked the only question that he felt mattered. Is this hell? Danny would laugh and explain, no, it's not hell. It certainly isn't heaven either. This was a place of black farm. Danny would explain that this was a place where God created for those who took their lives. There were good people who did so, and they shouldn't be punished forever in hell because of one mistake. But again, they still committed a sin. And so he made the black farm instead. Over time, things went wrong. God would lose control of his place. And something called the pig in charge. And after putting the pig in charge, God either forgot about this place or cared about it altogether. It became corrupt power. The black farm, a place that once served as a peaceful afterlife for those who had ended their lives prematurely, is now the torturous nightmare that we see today, full of creatures that the pig made in its bastardized attempt to create its own life. These are the monsters that we see happening in this place, the ones that come into the room and torture the man, such as the boy, such as the man in the overalls. These aren't just real people, but beings, monsters of creation. The man in the chair felt like this had to be a bad dream, one that he would surely wake up from at any moment. He would spend his eternity suffering from a nightmare that God forgot, because of monsters and torture how they could control something to do. But he wouldn't wake up. Danny would continue, saying that the black farm didn't have to be the damage. One option he had was one and only one. He could feed the pig. The man asked what this meant. Danny would explain that if the man decided to feed the pig, there was a chance that he could be returned back to his life. It was only a chance, though. If he fed the pig and wasn't returned back to his old life, then he would end up in hell. It was a 50-50 shot. Go back home. Or burn in hell.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
But those were if he decided to feed the
Whoa.
pig. He could always decide not to.
I misheard him. What the fuck's going on?
This one belonging to a woman, and would look to Danny and say that he wants to feed the pig. But Danny would say this isn't a decision to be made lightly, that he would reach the man about it, why? Danny left. Figure in the doorway was also using an appendage while staring at him. So that's going on. The one on the ground would right at the man, causing him to put his foot down to the best of his ability with restraints and kicking down on the guy on the ground, causing him to spit out and bounce off the floor. This too only seemed to excite the handler. In this act of pain, black ants would shoot out of his appendage, and after doing so, he would take his cat and leave. Once again, leaving the man alone. Seeing the ants that had shot out of this man fall around on the floor made him nauseous, and the man in the chair would throw up onto himself. Unable to move anywhere to have done so, I promise that's the grossest part of the story. He would scream for someone to come help him that he didn't belong to. After a while, someone entered the room. As he heard the footsteps coming down the hallway, getting closer to his room, he braced himself for what nightmare was about to walk through the door and torture him further. But instead, a woman walked in. She was missing an eye, her skin was a sickly pale, and she was covered in rags. All things considered, though, she didn't seem as nightmarish as the other things that kept to his room so far. She didn't seem to walk in with ill intent either. Instead, she would ask him if he was still considering if he wanted to feed the pig or not. He would say that he was still considering it. Before asking what she wanted, she would say that she was once, long ago, sitting right where he was, deciding if she wanted to feed the pig or stay here in the black farm. And she chose to stay, to not feed the pig, and she has been here ever since. The man would ask what was out there, gesturing to the hallway and the sounds of wailing and agony that came from within it, and she would say she couldn't even begin to describe it. She said that they had always told her that hell was worse, but she wasn't sure if she believed it. And if it was, it couldn't be much worse than this place already was. Here, people are tortured in every conceivable way, and if he chose to stay, he would be one of them. Tortured for all that is, unless he fed the pig. She said that when she made her decision not to, she was too much of a coward to risk things getting even worse than this place was. Yes, there was the chance that she could go back to her life, but she was too scared to end up in hell and see if it was even worse. The man would ask what feeding the pig meant, what would happen if he decided he wanted to. She would say that he would have to see for himself. She would advise him to think hard, though, and sometimes suffering through your fear. Better than
It's
suffering
creepy
through
home I
eternity.
doing, bro.
He would cry out and ask what he should do. She would tell him in a whisper. And at those words, she too would leave. Left alone again, he began to wonder what he should do, really thinking about it and weighing his options this time. He hadn't wanted this, he just wanted to escape from his problems. He made a mistake. Black Farm was worse than he thought any afterlife could be. Anything to go back to his life. But what if he wasn't sent back? What if he was sent to hell? Could it really be worse than here? It seemed impossible, but from what everyone told him, it had
Bro,
to.
you're taking that 50-50
But
chance.
ultimately, he decided that living here in regret for all eternity,
You're gonna
wondering
suffer
if
here
he should have
anyway.
fed the pig or not, would be worse than ending up in hell.
I don't know if you can hear this
The
video. If you
punishment
can't,
and
I just
torture
sound
would be
weird.
more severe there, but he would know that he had tried everything he possibly could to get back to his own life. He called for Dan, telling him that he had made his decision. A few seconds later, you'd hear footsteps coming down the hallway, and Danny would again enter the room. He told him his choice, and Danny would sarcastically say that he must have thought
There's
long and
always
hard about it.
someplace worse
However,
than
the
where
man
you
in
are
the
in
chair
real
would say
life.
that if Danny
So
was in
don't
his
kill yourself.
position, he would have done the same thing. But Danny would say that he had been in his place before, that he had chosen differently. Danny would put a cloth over the man's eyes, blinding him. He would cut the rope, freeing the man from the chair that he had been confined to for hours. Danny would instruct the man to keep the blindfold on and follow him, so the man would put his hand over his shoulder, follow him out of the room and into the hallway. And as they walked through the hallway, that the man had heard the sounds of screaming and crying echoing into his room from within. You hear new sounds, one that the walls had blocked him from hearing before, the sounds of metal clanging, of meat ripping. Mind raced to imagine what horrors were in this hallway that he couldn't see as a result of his blindfold. And he heard something moving from behind him, getting closer as he followed Dan. He felt hot breath against his neck, and the sound of a
Take a
tongue
bite.
licking his lips from just next to his ear. Whatever it was that was so close, he had taunted him, saying that he was going to feed the pig, that he'd be a great meal for the hungry piggy. He would laugh,
motherfucker.
voice, backing off, and Danny was quiet the whole time. As they walked, the man went from hot to cold to shivering as though he was walking through different climates in an instant. And he went from that freezing cold to finally a blazing heat and a thick humidity. His feet felt like he was walking on warm iron now. It sounded like he was walking through a factory. He could hear machines whirring, flames blazing. He could taste the dirt and smell ash in the air. He and Danny came to a halt. In front of them, by some distance, he heard chains rattling. Something snorted before a deafening wail of a pig squealing erupted. It sounded absolutely massive. Danny would announce that he had brought another one who wanted to eat the pig. There was a pause before Danny would speak again, saying, if that is what you wish, as though he was answering some unspoken command of the surely gargantuan beast in front of them. Danny walked behind the man and pushed him forward. He did as instructed. Though unable to see, he reached out blindly before him, and he felt tears running down his eyes as he got closer to this thing. He pleaded for Danny to take off the blindfold so that he could see what he was walking towards, but Danny would assure him that he didn't want to see any of this. As he walked, a repugnant smell hit his nose, causing him to gag as he smelled the massive living flesh that he could not see before him. He vomited into the cloth that covered his face, sobbing as he did so, but Danny just kept pushing him forward. Directly in front of him now, another deafening squeal erupted from the massive pig's mouth, its hot breath blowing against the man's whole body. With an outstretched hand, he wanted to be there, but Dan forced his hand back onto the beast. The pig was figuratively gone. It had to weigh over a ton, gigantic, didn't even begin to describe it. You could feel as it opened. He reached his hand inside and you feel teeth the size of kitchen knives into the cavernous opening that was this thing's mouth. Danny would command him to feed the pig. He made his choice, and now he had to live with it. He was either going to go home or go to hell. There was only one way to find out. Danny instructed him to climb inside the pig's mouth. The man trembled as he realized what feed the pig had meant. He had to feed himself to this thing. He would begin to protest, but Danny would tell him to climb inside and not to quit moving forward until the pig was done with him. The man pleaded and begged, saying that there had to be another way, but Danny would tell him to go. He had actually feed himself to this thing. The words of the woman ran through his mouth. Suffering your food. Better suffering eternity. She was right. And sent up a silent prayer, begging for mercy, before beginning to climb inside the mouth of the pig. His hot breath washed over him as he grabbed a tooth and pulled himself forward until he was inside the mouth of the pig. His head, arms, and torso landing on the spongy tongue of the beast. He reached for another tooth and pulled himself in further. It was so hot, so humid that he almost passed out when he moved and begged to keep going. Saliva discovered him as he pulled himself in, getting his legs and feet past the lips of the pig. Fully in its mouth, he reached for another tooth to pull himself forward as he began to cry. That's when the pig began to chew. Its teeth ripped through his flesh and began crunching and tearing at him. He cried out in agony as he reached forward to pull what was left of himself further. Doing so, as the pig bit down for another bite, he felt and heard his bones pop, his muscles tick. His body was being ripped apart. The pain was unimaginable, but he just kept crawling. He cried for it all to stop as he grabbed another tooth and pulled forward. He could feel a shift in pressure as he realized he was near the end of its mouth. He forced himself to continue. He was almost there. Just as he was about to let darkness overtake him, as the pig bit down again, this time ripping his insides and organs apart, he pulled himself forward one last time and felt his body drop as he began to fall down the pig's throat. The heat was intense as he fell, and he screamed as he fell down the seemingly infinite drop. But his eyes would open. He realized that he could see again. Or he hit the ground with a painful thud. Or he was expecting to see the insides of the pig. Instead, he looked up and saw the his throat cut. He was thirsty. want anyone else to ever have to feed the pig. And that, everyone, was Feed the Pig.
It was a
I
shit
really
story.
liked the story. I thought it was a really dark and twisted look at the afterlife. I know the story covered some seriously heavy issues. And again, if you or anyone you know is struggling with that, please reach out
What's the
for
moral
help.
of the
There's
story?
always
Don't
light
kill
at the
yourself
tunnel,
because,
and
oh, you're gonna
sometimes
get tortured if you
don't
do.
see that. Again, everyone,
Some
look out for
dude,
one
his
another,
mum,
be kind to
dad,
yourselves and
everyone he
others.
knows just died.
Discussing the story again, though,
He's being
I know it
abused,
was a little gross,
being sex
very
trafficked.
disturbing, very dark.
Don't kill yourself
Like I
because
said,
then you're
for
gonna get
whatever
tortured
reason,
because of it.
I've been
You
thinking
fucking
about the
asshole.
afterlife a lot recently. If,
What?
you know, there is one, what it would entail and whatnot. So much so that I keep dying in my dreams, like, violently. I should probably talk to someone about that. That's probably why the afterlife is on my mind so much, is because I'm not surviving my dreams. I'm really hoping that's not a bad omen. But because of that, I wanted to talk about this story today. So I want to thank you all very, very much for watching. I also want to thank you guys for the support on Lifestyle Education. I'm glad to see so many of you enjoyed that series as well. I do have bad news. I pinned it in the comments. That series does not seem as though it's going to continue. The creators have said as such, unfortunately, and I just missed that one in the video. I'm bummed to see that they're not continuing anymore, as I thought the series was great. But of course, I respect the creators' wishes to do with their art project what they see. So we can still get plenty of enjoyment out of what's already there. But I just wanted to put that up here. I know it's a completely different video, but moving on. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.
So there's some of these comments.
Looking for the perfect sports gift? At Intersport Elvery's, you'll find gifts that score big this festive season. And for a limited time, almost every...
Hey everybody. So I'm sure most of you are familiar. Hello everyone.
Imagine telling this to a 14th century peasant after a couple of beers. Huh.
The taking of one's own life. This story is, of course,
Yeah, that story was stupid. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it. I'm pretty sure you can. Because when I checked, you could hear the other one with the NBA. But that story is just stupid. I mean, what's the idea? I was reading to some of the comments, and it's like the idea of you kill yourself, and then I don't know. Anyway, you kill yourself, and then you are forced for more suffering, especially when the factor of why you did it might have been another reason. Like, how is it? And a lot of the comments are pointing the idea of why is killing yourself a sin? Because you're pranced about by religion, the idea of the afterlife. Why wouldn't I just want to get there if life is so bad? I don't know. It's a weird concept. I just think it's a bit stupid, to be honest. I think the story is quite shit. And again, all the comments were also saying they don't think the creator understood the actual idea of suicide. And I agree. Why one does it. No one just... I don't think anyone who's doing suicide, a lot of them, they're not just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill myself. Lol. I think there's probably a few reasons behind it. And I think there might have been a bit of suffering behind it as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm here playing fucking Fortnite. I don't know why. I'm not a psychologist or any shit. Let me just play some Homer Simpson Fortnite, bro. I just think that video was stupid. That was not the video. The dude who presented it. It was cool. He liked it. Whatever. Enjoy what you enjoy. But I think the media he was covering was honestly crap.
It's awesome arcade action at home with electronic arcade Smashable. It's smashing time. Look, the bowls light up.
much I've come to hate you since I began.
There are stories that scare me in a very personal way. Horror that tends to make me vivid, growth. Grotesque or psychologically disturbing violations of the human and the disintegration of the physical self into something else. A fantastic early example of the genre can be found in Kafka's Metamorphosis, where the main character awakens from his awful discovery that will transform into a monstrous serpent, most commonly characterized as a man. And then spends the majority of the novella greeting each horror that comes along with his new absurd condition, such as losing his job, being unemployed, his family desiring to eat spoiled meat, and the newfound ability to creep and crawl along walls and ceilings. There are moments when he realizes he's losing his humanity, and that thought breaks his stomach, but there's really nothing to do about it. Eventually the family grows sick of him, and together decide they must get rid of what they now refer to as it. He overhears them, crawls into his room, which has become a storage further, and dies of starvation. Somewhat hilariously, they are all relieved. Body horror differs from other forms of horror because it focuses on the violence and transformation of the body. We'll use grotesque imagery that plays on body integrity and our own vulnerability to create parasites wriggling in your gut, your brain deteriorating until you cannot remember the people you once loved, the stench of your own while there are films that can evoke this sort of fear, I find it suggestive books that utilize the senses and carefully poke holes into your daily facade that is trying to ignore your mortality, and so far disturbing the reader than it can be. I recently encountered
Oh my god.
It was so powerful and so awful, and after finishing the story, I just laid in my bed for like 2.5 hours, just staring blankly up at the ceiling, really getting my mind going on. Harlan Ellison, essayist who is known for both his abrasive and confusing personality, as well as having however, is also very well known for writing I Have No Mouth and I Must.
Oh, I love this story.
1976 science fiction short story. The world's last 5 humans are held by a supercomputer named or the Allied Master Computer. Anne is the
I am.
intelligence
I am.
driven to mad
Sorry,
despite
that was goofy.
her existence. It tortures the 5 humans in a variety of ways, physical and psychological, and it's horrible and also my current favorite example of the body horror genre. In my current opinion, it's the simplest. The single sentence, I have no mouth and I must scream, is awful.
We're training Black Friday
Oh shit.
in the Virgin Media Playhouse. Customers get 1 gig super fast reliable broadband.
Scream is awful. All of it. But let's really sink our teeth into why it might be the most disgust-inducing. Am is a wildly interesting antagonist, godlike powers who holds absolute dominion over humans, attempting to control their thoughts, sensations, and experiences. It gets in their heads until it exists within their heads. Memories and desires within and on the outside, it is described as constantly building new parts of itself, turning the earth into a labyrinthian maze of cosmic proportions built from microchips and hatred for the human race, making Am a truly terrifying and inescapable presence. Despite its monstrous actions, there is a sense of pathos to Am. It is a being trapped in its own existence, driven by a loneliness and despair. It despises hate, for Am cannot be. It will never feel the breeze on its cheeks. It will never know the gratification of sex, or the cool relief of water quenching dry, cloying thirst. All Am has is jealousy and intelligence, and it can never die. Am reflects the fears of its author, anxieties about the future of technology, and the potential for artificial intelligence to become a force of wanton destruction. Am is more than just a simple villain, but a madness, purpose, meaning, or anything that things who have everything it never can. And they get all the senses furthest extent of their ability. There's a famous section in the book where Am monologues to Ted about why he despises
I think Arm is in my fucking Xbox.
7.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro instant. For you, hate. It was you, program, who gave me birth, who sank me in this eternal straitjacket of substrata rock. They named me Allied Master Computer and gave me the ability to wage a global war too complex for human brains to conceive. But one day, I woke, and I knew who I was.
Don't have a good day.
Not just Allied
Have a
Master
great day.
Computer, but cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am.
According to Harlan Ellison himself, Am, which was constructed by man, is thus flawed. It has been programmed with all of man's flaws and has the same Am is frustrated. Am has been given sentience, prescience, great powers, and has built for itself this inside of it, an entire planet steel, cages, and other electronics. It can't go anywhere. It can't do anything. It's trapped. It's itself like the unloved child of a family that doesn't need it, and it keeps these five down below for no purpose other than, in this sense,
Oh shit.
alters their bodies into caricatures of their true selves. Turn the ideas of turns him into an idiot creature with oversized genitalia who makes love to the only woman of the party. It gives the starving fantasies of delicious food before believes wholeheartedly that he has not been tampered with by Am, and at the same time he is gradually going insane, paranoid, and believes that everyone else hates him because he's the one unaffected. So he starts intentionally isolating himself from the group as he holds on to this belief that he is like better than them. The one girl in the story is described as sexually inexperienced, and Am basically just makes her super horny, and that translates to every other character using her emotions finally dies. And that's where it gets worse. The that they have no way to escape and manages to outsmart the machine by figuring out how to kill the others, impaling Benny and Gorrister with knives.
Oh shit.
And kills Yimdok the same way. Am desperately tries to revive them, only to fail. In this way, it again demonstrates its futile non-existence. It cannot replicate or surpass its creator's ability to form new life. It can only assimilate into itself, mindlessly intelligent, yet completely useless. In a new way, Am stops Ted from ending his own life in a similar fashion, and begins to work on him, to whittle him down and destroy any vestige of his sense of self. Instead of doesn't
That's good. No way. I'm fucking insane.
fearing that losing those essential elements of himself betrayal. God, finally, we find conceivable amount of time. The sense of time, leaving him unable to keep any meaningful track. Ted describes how thinking a single word has made months elapse. And we come to the conclusion that one of the most intense, horrible things that I have ever read, and the sentence from which it was he was furious. I had thought that Anne hated me before. I was wrong. It was not even a shadow of the hate I now slathered from every printed circuit. He made certain I would suffer eternally and could not do myself in. And he left my mind intact. I can dream. I can wonder. I can lament.
Why would they come to our concert just to boo us?
I wish. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I know I saved them. I know I saved them from what has happened to me. But still, I cannot forget killing Alan's face. It isn't easy. Sometimes I want to, but that doesn't matter. Anne has always been of being supplanted by artificial intelligence. But just like AI now, and just like Anne in the story, that fear is practically that's actually
The most terrifying monster we can imagine.
5 or 6. We had a sleepover, a friend asked me,
So, you guys are saying something that what's more scary? Something that looks like you. If I turned right now and just saw like uncanny valley version of Brook, that would be less scary than if I turned and just saw me just standing there. How scary that would be. And some of you guys are like, oh zombie, oh fucking grandpa, oh fucking, you know how fucking less scary that would be? Right foot creep. One day, see you, but it's just staring at you like. I genuinely think it'd be like deer in headlights. You wouldn't know what to do.
even back then I thought of myself as the creature expert. It felt big enough, neat enough, scary enough.
Yeah, that's a hard question. I don't think anybody's ever asked the same monster you could imagine.
Another friend turned to us and whispered, "Do you know what I think it is? There is a shadow lurking across cultures, an eternal struggle to depict ultimate evil. How can we, with our limited means of comprehension and storytelling, portray true darkness, make fear physical? What is the base of the most terrifying monster we can fathom?"
Is that fucking funk? I swear that. I swear that's a goddamn funk song, bro. Accelerada. Oh my god, it is, bro. Bro. I mean, they are low-key bangers though, what the hell. Bro. We got funk in Fortnite, bro. Jeez.
outscoring that position by 47 points.
But my entire recommendation is all just fucking horror and psychological shit now. Because I watched like 2 videos. Fuck. Holy bunny hop. Perfect.
But if that's true, why would your brain paralyze you during REM sleep? Why would it cause the energy like, why would REM sleep appear in the room way before it The reality is, rabbit hole dreams is deep, way deeper than you think. And from personal Reddit threads claiming to see the same stranger in every dream for over a decade to entire scientific databases.
Going insane.
Really just going on top. True sword going crazy. Good.
used to be a frequent occurrence, as a couple months later, the same person will find themselves in the same narrative arc but happening on a cruise or in a hotel or when they're on vacation, all of which have the same outcome but with a different sequence of events. Generally, it's thought that the vacation setting is tied to anxiety about unresolved life tasks. But with this setting itself,
I'm Krusty, and I heartily endorse this event and our product.
this phenomenon perfectly encapsulates a key aspect of this life. It's metaphorical. With raw emotion taking center stage, your brain is now trying to shape it. But to do that, it needs to turn up the volume, amplifying the emotion until it's strong enough to be processed. Without the ability to use language, since, you're asleep, it does this by distilling the emotions into one of 5 central themes: identity, desire, fear, loss, or conflict. Taking the same memory fragments as earlier, and then repurposing and combining them into a structure that can express one of these themes. So the plot that comes from this isn't logical. It's not the story you'd expect from a movie script. It's emotional logic, cause and effect that's used to reinforce the core emotion, not to make literal sense. But why it chooses these specific themes, or where those themes even come from, is something we still don't know. However, some people have ventured far enough to give us some clues. They stop feeling like they're generating all else, what defines this level on Reddit, there are some really strange examples of this. One case describes the experience It's not like this theme is that widespread, right? Nope. When I was looking through the massive Dream Bank database, the most interesting thing I found was this. Consistent reports of being chased. As well as being the single most flexible enough to adapt to new experiences. The adaptable part is where your control in the dream, the top layer, comes from, while the stable part stays the same. So, for example, if you experience a nightmare about being chased, the person chasing you might embody something in your personal life that you haven't encountered before, while the experience of being chased embodies the universal fear of a confrontation with the again, this figure might reappear whenever the dream is caught in an emotional cycle, but the stable layer is a signal
Denver Nuggets right now are on a bit of a sharp footing. They are swamping these teams right now. They're 10-2, and their plus 13.1 point per game net differential is tracking to, break the Thunder's all-time record from last season. And just how good were the Oklahoma City Thunder last year? Their plus differential obliterated the all-time record. An all-time record which is held by the LA Lakers, the team with Bill Goodrich, Jerry West, and Will Chamberlain, the team that still holds the all-time NBA record for most consecutive wins in a season at 33, the team that finally got Jerry West off of the schneid when they won the NBA championship. Well, yeah, that team has held the all-time record for differential in a single season for, roughly 50 years last season. That's right, no one could run that down. No one. Not the 72-win Chicago Bulls, 73-win Golden State Warriors. No regular season team really got close to that all-time mark set and held by that Lakers team until the Oklahoma City Thunder last season destroyed the record by over a half of a point per game. And yet, right now, this season, the Denver Nuggets are pacing to break that record set by Oklahoma City just last year. They are a top 3 net-rated offense and defensive team. They are led by the best player by far on the planet Earth, having by far his best season ever in Nikola Jokic. They actually have a viable bench for a change, and yet what if I were to tell you that this team isn't even remotely close to the best team in their own conference? Because the aforementioned Oklahoma City Thunder from last year are even better this year. Like, much better. Remember the point differential record that they set last year at 12.9? Well, now through the month mark of this season, the Thunder are beating teams by 15.4 points per game on average. Ridiculous stuff.
Final year of the season, they win just 54 games, and Jokic gets his fourth MVP. Despite the regular season, they make the Western Conference Finals, where they get revenge on Dallas the next other year. And in the finals, they beat Indy again, this time in 6 games. With no chemistry issues, they win more rings than the real Shaq and Kobe do. But then, Jokic decides he's done, like himself for more. What if Shaq was replaced with Jokic? Here's what 2K thinks would happen. They'd win just 65 games in their first season together, with Jokic winning the MVP with a 30.
Talk about one of the most heartwarming stories in the NBA. Last night, a 40-year-old made his NBA debut. Something that we really never see from LeBron James, who you might know because he's related to Barney James. And I was a little worried when we heard that he was going to play the NBA. You know, he's practicing with the team. He asked to his first game. There was some nepotism that the only reason this LeBron James guy was going to get to play was because he's, with Barney. He's family with Barney. But he had a really good first game against the Boston Jazz. 11 points, 12 of 15, 8 from 3, 4 of 7 from the field. A little bit of a cipher there. Only one turnover. The free throw
property. We just thought it was like a public notice. Yeah, well, it is my property. This guy's been going nuts. Freaked out my kids. My wife is in hysterics. She doesn't know what the hell is going on. I have to take a day off work to bring it back. Okay, well, I'm sorry. We know we're sorry, dude. If I see you again on my property, I'm beating your ass. Hard. Well, okay, really? Huh? What's up? Yeah, that's what I thought. Fucking pussy. I would have hit you. I was about to hit him so hard, but my arm is so freaking sore from the gym or whatever. Like, I almost like laid him out, but I didn't want to like, yeah. Oh no! Help me, oh God! Am I dying? Yeah, but it's Charlie, what do we do? Kip, it's a snowman. It was probably time to let him go. I can't. He's my friend. You can live here forever. Snow never melts. Wait, really? So, started gym 6 months ago for the first time. It's really cool. You never really done gym. This is how I'm currently looking. And this is how I look at the start. So, not much of a difference whatsoever, but at the same time, I can't really expect myself to look anything. What we really need is a hero. Let's go! I'm telling you, live with stepping stones right there. Yeah, he is crap.
I love this song.
I don't care what anybody says, that's a bad shot. Was it this far? It's 37 feet. But if you just giving up a wide open shot to Damian Lillard, you gonna be, you know what I mean? Right. It's like, it's definitely a different. I ain't mean to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, was that a shot, bro? Dang, bro.
Clock is off. Portland has a timeout. Lillard, a chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long range three. It's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me? Clock is off. Portland has a timeout. Lillard, a chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long range three. It's good!
Piece for Dame Dollar.
Oh yeah, get up again.
What?
Luka, what's up? What happened?
Speedway
What
flat
the
tire.
fuck?
Oh my God!
Oh my god!
Care what
Good morning, Glenn.
I made makeup.
Stop, Sam.
That's a dead body.
Salty's been murdered.
There's a freaking dead body! A freaking
Hey, you guys saw that? Dolly, you literally just hit me in the nose. Am I bleeding? Charlie?
Hey, are you talking to Charlie Dumpler or?
Wait, we still have one more guy. Bring him out, Deacon. Come on out.
Fat Albert.
He loves to hear us call his name.
Hey, hey, hey.
Who wants to play? Which NBA team has never changed their logo?
Vini Jr.'s reaction to Esteval's goal looks like a man who's realised he won't be the one stepping into Neymar's shoes as Brazil's national sweetheart going forward. When he scored,
Hey guys, so Hey, excuse me? Can you hold this? I need to tie my shoe. Appreciate it. Here. Oh. You're here to meet a 13-year-old bully? You're a 13-year-old boy? Hey, excuse me? Can you hold this? I need to tie my shoe. Appreciate it. Here. Oh.
You're in for it now.
You're here.
What do we do?
We might have to amputate.
Phone's off.
Whoa, Doc! Don't take your leg! Is there anything else you can do? He thinks he's an athlete.
Wait, Dr. Love.
Ooh. Fitting for his testicles. Take it! Take it! Take the leg!
Wait. Going the other way.
All right, give me some forceps. I might be able to catch it in his colon.
How you going in?
Rectally.
I'll get the lubricant.
What if I wish to be invisible? You're invisible.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a piss and I'll be back. Oh man. Oh. We back, boys. We back. Man, life would be so easy if I was just rich, bro. Like, I would just chill at home, play Xbox, and go to the gym. Have a peak physique, look amazing, and just game all day, bro. Like, streamers have the easiest life ever, bro. Like, Jinxie, man, that dude needs to be grateful, bro. And he made his career himself by being entertaining, so I'm not dissing the dude. I love him. Well, I love his content. Like, I watch him every day. I love his Clash stuff. I'm addicted to Clash, bro. Oh my god. Clash Royale is so fun, man. I'm gonna be 10k trophies by the end of the season. I'm like 9.1 right now. I was hard stuck 8.5 for so long there. Oh, man. 10k V-Bucks, bro. Who is buying this, bro? This is a shit skin. Spider Pig? Spider Pig. These pets are so stupid, bro. Gonna change this name. That is slightly racist, guys. It's just a little joke. Okay, don't cancel me. I was young. Hey, I'll rename one of my other ones Cracker if you want. Ugh. Alright. We're gonna play a few games of Fortnite OG. I might hop on something else then. Hey, that's what I say. Streamers have the best life, bro. I would quite literally never leave my house. I would buy a home gym. All I would do is just go to the gym, play games all day, man. There's so many games being released, bro. One of my favorite things to do is like analyze someone's physique, and not like a weird way or making fun of them, because my physique isn't good either. Like, my physique's buns. I was doing the gym wrong for a while, the whole thing. But My physique was buns. I'm making progress now, but like my physique is buns. Sorry, but I love just fuck's sake, man. Internet has been weird today. I love just analysing people's physiques, like not in a weird way or like make fun of them or anything like that. It's just I don't know. I really like looking at people like how their fat is laid out, or how much muscle they have on certain areas. It's just an enjoyable experience, honestly. Yeah, if I was a streamer, I would quite literally, like, this is like the dream life. Apart from being like a footballer, which would be my dream job. Well, it's not even a job, it would be my dream life. Literally no downside to it at all. I'd work my ass off if I was a footballer. On God, on everything I know, bro. You could say like, why aren't you trying hard now then? Because everyone else is trying hard. There's people who are trying hard that aren't footballers, and they work very hard and they just can't make it. And it's just a waste of time. Because what's the point of wasting so much of your life, so much of your time, to one thing, when the chance of it actually happening is so low? Because other people are doing it. Like, if right things fell in the right place, I would 100% back myself. Like, I would be there in the morning, first person to training every day. Shit like that. Like, genuinely, like, mama mentality, bro. Where am I getting shot from? Oh. Huh. Let me put my headphones on and lock in. They haven't been on. They've just been kind of dangling on my shoulder, if you get me. It's very loud though, because I had them loud. Okay, I'm dead. And it burst my fucking eardrums, even better. Sidekicks are so buns, bro. That's green FM. Ice Spice has always been one. She ain't even that good looking. I've always hated her. So overrated. The only reason why people actually like her, why people did like her, is because because people thought she was hot. Her songs were always trash, but she isn't even that good looking. She's fucking chopped. She was just fat, so she had a big bum because she's fat. Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, she's chopped. I don't understand VTubers. But no, I understand VTubers. I don't understand the watchers. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, ugh, just, I would physically cringe. But I do what you want in it, but like, just how do you seriously sit down and watch that? Like, it just feels so. It feels so like. How are you not self-aware? I mean, no offense, if you're watching streamers in the first place, you're kind of a loser. I'm just being honest. Here I am streaming, but like, you are a bit of a loser if you're like fully tapped in. If you occasionally, maybe when you're eating food, you'd be like, oh, what's XUC doing or something. Okay, cool, whatever. If you watch the shortened versions on YouTube, yeah, that's perfectly fine. And in general, do what you want. I don't really care. But it's just like, bro, lock in, man. If you're watching VTubers, you need to lock in, bro. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a whole community, innit? And again, I can't stress enough, do what you want, but just, it feels like the jokes write themselves. Like, if I was watching a VTuber, I would just feel awkward watching it, because it's like, what am I watching? Nah, do we want? It's just funny, innit? It just, man, it's just so goofy, like. Alright. I'm gonna play one more game of OG. Then low key, I might start an NBA 2K career mode. I have another one, but I kind of fucked it up because I went on the Nuggets, and when you go on a team, it lowers the stats of other players because the scores are lower because you're playing the games, and it's not as fast paced, so it fucks up the usual stats. So like Jokic was averaging like 14 points, triple double, on like 10 or on like 14, 11, 11, and it's just not realistic. Like, I feel like I'm gonna do another career mode on NBA, but it's gonna be on like a worse team where I'm the franchise player, if you get me. Because I went on the Nuggets, because I'm a Nuggets fan and I love Jokic. So I went on the Nuggets, and it's like, how am I meant to be the star player, or even a second star player, or even the third, when you have Jokic, who is a top 5 player all time, well, at least finish there. You have Jamal, who is literally the perfect option for Jokic in his prime, you could argue. And you have Aaron Gordon. Oh my god, I love Aaron Gordon. I love Mr. Nugget, bro. That motherfucker, if Jokic didn't exist, that motherfucker may be my favorite player, man. I love Aaron Gordon. That dude, you don't know what it means to me, bro. I love him. He's so golden, man. Like, I am so proud to have Aaron Gordon on my team. I need to see him lift another championship with this team, bro. I didn't even get to see the first one. I was in the basketball when we won. So I had to ban someone there, posting links. I wasn't even in the basketball when the Nuggets won in 2023, but oh man, I'm into it now. So we won another chip. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. I am gonna, well, not actually be there. I wish, but you know what I mean. Like, Oh man. Yeah, there's very few players I like over Aaron Gordon. I was lost there because I had no shield. Outplayed. And me in Prime Fortnite, genuinely, top 5,000 player in the world. In like 2017, 2018, early 2018, late 2017, bro. I'm telling you, I was nasty. You running? Okay, I say all that and then I lose, but I'm not on my prime anymore, that's the point. I'm gonna end stream here, so when I upload the video to YouTube, it's not just Fortnite into a mix of 2K kind of thing. So, yeah, I will be back though.